Hi, students. I wish you a hopeful and prosperous New Year well in advance. Today, let us continue the second part of the lesson, the concert. Let us look at the seventh para. Before going to that, in the previous para, we came to know that Anand expressed his wish to attend the concert of Pandit Ravi Shankar, but his mother convinced him that that was not the last time that they are going to play. We will go to the concert the next time. Now, all of you look at the seventh para. Smita stood at the window looking at the traffic, her eyes filled with tears. Her mother whispered, "But you, Smita, you must go. Your father will take you." When she was alone with Aunt Sushila, Smita cried out in a choked voice, "No, how can I? We have always done things together, Anand and I." "A walk in the park might make you feel better," said Aunt Sushila, and Smita was grateful for her suggestion. Here, Smita was feeling very bad because both Smita and Anand wished to attend the concert. But when she knew that Anand would not be able to attend the concert, she stood near the window and wept bitterly looking at the traffic. Her mother came to her and said in a low voice, "Not to worry, your father will take you to the concert." In reply to the consolation given by her mother, she said to her, "How can I go? Because we had always done things together. Now I can't go to the concert leaving him alone at home." So when she was in deep grief, Aunt Sushila suggested her to have a walk in the park that might make feel her better. Smita was very thankful to her auntie in response to her suggestion. Look at the eighth para. In the park, people were walking, running, playing ball, doing yogic exercises, feeding the ducks, and eating roasted gram and peanuts. Smita felt alone in their midst. She was lost in her thoughts. In the park, what Smita had seen there was a few people were walking, some are running, some are playing ball, some are feeding the ducks, yet others are eating roasted gram and peanuts. Smita was in the midst of those people and lost in her thoughts. She was in her own thought, so that though she was in the midst of the people, yet she felt alone. Look at the ninth para. Suddenly a daring thought came to her, and as she hurried home, she said to herself, "Why not? There is no harm in trying it. It would be nice to go to the concert. I don't know when we will get another opportunity to hear Pandit Ravi Shankar," she said to her mother later, and her father agreed to get the tickets. In this para, suddenly what happened? A daring thought. Observe the word daring. It means very courageous, a courageous thought. So a daring thought came to her mind and she hurried home. Hurried means very fast. She went home very fast and she said to herself, "Why not? Why can't I do that? There is no harm in trying it." After that, she said to her mother, it would be nice to go to the concert. Yes, I will go to the concert. And I don't know when I get this precious opportunity again. And finally, Smita's father agreed to bring the tickets to the concert. Observe the paragraph. There you will get three infinite verbs, that is, to go, to hear, to get. Three words are used there. In all those words, we will find to, the preposition to, along with the present form of the verb. This is called infinitive verbs. Look at the 10th para. The next day, as Smita and her father were leaving for the concert, her brother smiled and said, "Enjoy yourself." Though the words came out in painful gasps, lucky you. Observe the paragraph here. The very next day, Smita got ready along with her father. They both were leaving for the concert. At the time, her brother Anand smiled at Smita and he said, "Enjoy yourself because you are all very lucky." Even though the words came out very painfully, painful gasp means painfully breathing or struggling. Yet he said, "Enjoy yourself." Who is lucky here? Smita. Sitting beside her father in the gallery, Smita heard, as in a dream, the thundering welcome the audience gave the great master. Then the first notes came over the ear, and Smita felt as if the gates of enchantment and wonder were opening. Spellbound, she listened to the unfolding ragas, the slow plaintive notes, the fast tinkling ones, but all the while the plan she had decided on the evening before remained firmly in her mind. The chance of a lifetime. She heard Anand's voice in every beat of the tabla. The concert came to an end and the audience gave the artist a standing ovation. A large mustachioed man made a long boring speech. Then followed the presentation of bouquets. Then more applause and the curtain came down. The people began to move towards the exits. In this para, observe the word thundering means to make a loud noise. A loud clapping welcome was given to that great master. On the other hand, Smita sitting beside her father in that gallery, she was feeling it like a dream. Who is the great master here? Pandit Ravi Shankar. Here, we come to know how Smita had been enjoying the concert. When the concert began, the very first note came over the ear, and Smita is feeling that near her the gates of enchantment and wonder were opening. Observe the words gates of enchantment. It means a feeling of great pleasure. Wonder means surprise. What happened there? She was spellbound. Underline the word spellbound. It means to be very attentive. In other words, to hold complete attention. Plenty notes. It means sounds sad. So she is enjoying all the entire concert. She is listening to the music. But all the while, the plan what she had decided sitting in the park remained strongly in her mind. She is recollecting the entire line, the chance of a lifetime. That sentence she heard in every beat of the tabla. What is the chance of a lifetime here? Listening to the music of Pandit Ravi Shankar. Finally, The concert came to an end, and all the audience were very happy. They stood and clapped. They applauded the great musicians Pandit Ravi Shankar and Ustad Allah Raka. Standing ovation means enthusiastic clapping by the audience who stand up from the seats as a sign of their appreciation. After that, after the concert, a large mustachioed man, observe the word mustachioed, means a person who has a big mustache, made a very long, boring speech. After that, many people went towards the masters and they presented bouquets. Finally, the curtain came down. All the people were moving towards the exits. Look at the 12th para. Now was the time. Smita wriggled her way through the crowds towards the stage. Then she went up the steps that led to the wings, her heart beating loudly. In the wings, a small crowd had gathered to talk about the evening concert, to help carry bouquets and teacups and instruments. Now she has to do. She wriggled. Underline the word wriggled. It means to twist the body right and left when there is a crowd. If we want to move forward in the midst of the crowd, we must wriggle. Thus, Smita wriggled and made her way towards the stage. She went up the steps and her heart started to beat loudly because she is going to execute the plan here, what she had decided in the park. In that wings, a small crowd had gathered and talking about the evening concert, and some are helping to carry bouquets, teacups, and instruments. Look at the 13th para. He was there standing with the man who played the tabla for him, the great wizard of music, Ustad Allah Raka. Her knees felt weak, her tongue dry, but she went up and standing before them, her hands folded, "Oh, sir," she burst out. "Yes?" he asked questioningly but kindly. And her story came pouring out, the story of her brother who lay sick at home and of how he longed to hear him and the Ustad play. "Little girl," said the mustachioed man who had made the long speech, "Panditji is a busy man. You must not bother him with such requests." But Pandit Ravishankar smiled and motioned him to be quiet. He turned to Ustad Sahib and said, "What shall we do, Ustad Sahib?" The Ustad moved the wad of pan from one cheek to another. "Tomorrow morning we perform for the boy." "Yes," he said. "Yes," Panditji replied. "It's settled then." In this para, underline the word wizard. It frequently comes to one word answer. It is a person who is specially good at some art or achievement. Who is considered as a wizard here? Ustad Allah Raka. He was the great wizard of music. So what happened here? She was moving towards Pandit Ravi Shankar and she went there and her knees felt weak there, which means she got scared, afraid, her tongue dried. She stood before them, she folded her hands and she burst out saying, "Oh, sir." She is expressing every pain to those musicians. Burst out means say with strong emotions. So she told everything to Pandit Ravi Shankar. In response to her saying, Pandit Ravi Shankar asked, "What's your problem?" He asked questioningly and kindly. Her story came out pouring. She said freely about her brother's desire and disease, how he longed to hear the music. Longed means desired. She told the entire story to him. The large mustached man, who had made a long, boring speech, said to her, "Little girl, you should not trouble him. Panditji is a busy man." Observe the word bother, which means trouble. You should not request him. Here, Pandit Ravishankar and Ustad Halla Raka, we should not only consider them as great musicians but also kind people. Even though they are in a great position, yet they decided to go to Smita's house and play for the boy. So Pandit Ravishankar, what did he do? He smiled simply and he motioned that large mustached man. Means he cautioned him to be quiet and he turned to Ustad Halla Raka and asked his opinion. What shall we do, Ustad Sahib? What did Ustad Sahib do? He moved the word of pawn from one cheek to another. He was chewing pawn. Word means lump, a lump of pawn. He said, "Yes, tomorrow morning we should go to the Smita's house and perform for the boy." "Yes," Panditji also replied. "It is settled." Settled means decided to perform for the boy. Look at the 14th para. It was a very excited Smita who came home late that night. Anant was awake, breathing the oxygen from the cylinder. Did you hear him?" he whispered. "I did," she replied, "and I spoke to him, and he will come tomorrow morning with the tabla ustad, and they'll play for you." Here, Smita felt very excited and happy to inform her brother, and she went home a little late that night. And Anand was awake waiting for his sister. He knew that he was at the final stage of cancer. As he was struggling to breathe, he was breathing with the help of the oxygen cylinder. As soon as Smita reached her house, Anand asked her immediately, "Did you hear him?" he asked in a low voice. "Did you attend the concert? Did you hear Pandit Ravishankar?" She replied, "I heard, I did, and I spoke to him. Tomorrow morning he will come to our house with Ustad Halla Raka and they play for you." Look at the 15th para. And the following morning, Aunt Sushila's neighbors saw two men getting out of a taxi which pulled up outside their block. They could not believe their eyes. "It's not possible," they said. The next morning, Aunt Sushila's neighbors saw two men. Who are the two men here? Pandit Ravishankar and Ustad Halla Raka. They came in a taxi and getting out of a taxi. Again, there is a phrasal verb, getting out, pulled up. Pulled up outside. So, pulled up means stopped. What stopped here? The taxi in which they had been coming stopped in front of the Sushila's apartment. Block means a tall building. And those neighbors couldn't believe their own eyes and said, "It is not at all possible. It is impossible what they are seeing." Look at the 16th para. Pandit Ravishankar and Ustad Halla Raka went up the wooden staircase and knocked softly on the door of Aunt Sushila's apartment. They went in, sat down on the divan by the window, and played for the boy. surrounding him with a great and beautiful happiness as life went out of him gently, very gently. Here in this para, these two great musicians went up the wooden staircase. Wooden staircase means a staircase which is made out of wood, and they knocked the door of Aunt Sushila's apartment. They went inside the house and sat down on the divan by the window. Divan means a small cot, and they started to play for the boy. As they were playing, Anand felt the happiness, the great happiness, the boundless happiness, the beautiful happiness that has surrounded him. And his life went out of him very gently, means he passed away, and the wish of Anand was fulfilled at last. It is Smita, his sister, finally fulfilled her brother's wish. So the story had a tragic ending because Anand died at the end at his tender age of 15 years. At the end of the page of this lesson, they have given a note for you. This is a real story. All the names of the characters have been changed except Pandit Ravishankar and Ustad Allah Raka. Throughout the lesson, we have come to know it is Smita, her love, her concern and care towards her brother. Secondly, we also come to know through this lesson the power of music. It is the music that satisfied Anand's desire. Now take down your home assignment. The first question is, as Smita sat listening to the music, she was spellbound, but all the while her mind was echoing something else. What was that? The second one is, why does the writer use the word regaled to describe Smita's movement? Thank you.